Devlog 4. So in the previous devlog, I released a movement demo for Goobi to see what you guys all thought of the movement. The general reception was pretty good, so I'm really happy that you guys enjoyed it. Since that demo has been released, there's a lot of work that's been done, and I'm very excited to show off everything I've done since then. So I've recently seen that a lot of you guys want to see level design and enemies and all that sort of fun stuff. Don't get me wrong, I want to work on enemies and levels, however there's something that I'm trying to perfect, and that is the movement and camera. For the past 3 devlogs, the movement and camera has been the main focus, and all that I can say right now is that I think the movement and camera is in a pretty good place. It's not perfect by any means, but I'm happy with it. Common criticism that I saw in the demo was that Goobi felt too slow to move around with, and people were dashing and diving throughout the entire map. And I couldn't agree more. I felt that Goobi was also pretty slow, and he just felt generally heavy. So now I've made Goobi a bit faster, and I also sped up his running animation. For anyone curious, his movement speed before was 600, and now it's 1000. So it is a boost from the previous speed, and it feels like he's actually running, instead of feeling heavy and jogging. On top of that, Goobi's ground friction has also been increased. This will give Goobi a more of a on-the-ground sort of feel, and make him feel a lot tighter to move around. He now feels less floaty on the ground, and a lot more tight and responsive, so I'm really happy with his base movement right now. Another thing that I fixed from the feedback was that the glide button should be mapped to the jump button instead of a separate button, which I've now changed. So now you can just press the jump button in the air to deploy the glider instead of pressing another button. This just makes everything feel more streamlined and a lot more polished. I've also messed around with some other values to make the movement feel better, but I'll leave it out for now. So, apart from bug fixes, I'm sure you guys might have been wondering what's new with Goobi, and has anything changed visually since the last devlog? And I'm sure you guys have seen the title of the video, and yes, Goobi now has a gun.
You're ugly, you're disgusting, I'm gonna kill you, give me $200.
Well, it's not really a gun, but it's a newspaper launcher. I'm gonna use this for a lot of gameplay opportunities, like solving puzzles, opening doors, combat, and so much more. I feel like this mechanic has a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see where I can take it. I have a few ideas prototyped on the test level right now, like shooting buttons, activating doors, breaking boxes, and a ton of other things like that. If you guys have any ideas what you think I can use for this, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear your ideas. Another new thing that you might have seen is that the collectibles are now different. Right now, they've changed the stamps. Again, these aren't final, but I think these look decent for now, and they're better than the coins that I had before. I'm going to use these stamps as a secondary collectible aside from the main collectible. These stamps could be used for something like costumes or unlocking something or something of that nature. I still need to figure out what I'm going to use it for, but let me know what you guys think. As far as the camera is concerned, I started to work on it a little bit. It currently now feels a lot more dynamic and doesn't follow the player when jumping. This gives a more polished feeling, I think, but it still is a little janky. A friend of mine helped me out setting this up, so big thanks to him. I'll leave his Twitter in the description. He's extremely talented, and definitely go check him out. Another new thing that I've added to Goobi is momentum down slopes and ramps. Whenever Goobi is going down a slope, he will increase his speed. Here's how I'm doing this. I'm casting a line trace from the player capsule, and then on the break hit result, I check to see if the character has a positive or negative angle. Positive means that the player is going up, therefore the player's speed should decrease. Then if the player's angle is negative, the player's going down, therefore the player's speed should increase. When the player's going down on an angle, the player will keep that momentum for a few seconds, and then return back to the normal walking speed. This gives a sense of weight for the character, and it really adds a whole other layer of feel and feedback to the player. So that's the basics of it, and I'm also using a float curve to calculate the player's speed on angles. Another thing that I added in was when the player was on an angle, the player mesh will rotate towards that angle. This was a pretty simple thing to do, and I had no problems programming this at all. Oh, okay, well that's not supposed to happen. But yeah, this really doesn't add anything to the gameplay, but it is some visual eye candy that I think helps sell the idea that Goobi's on an angle. If you couldn't tell already, I'm pretty keen on small details, but I think this will add a nice feel to the endgame. I've also started working on the main idea for the game, which is collecting letters and delivering letters. I have the whole unlocking system already set up, so when you collect a certain amount of letters, you unlock a new level, but I like to go further with this idea because I feel like it's too basic. Again, this is nowhere near final, but at least the programming is in, and all I have to really do is make it pretty and look presentable. Another thing that I'd like to announce is that I started to work with a concept artist. She's extremely talented, and together we have come up with some really cool ideas for levels, ideas, and other things. You should follow her on Twitter, she's extremely talented. Some recent work she did for me was some early level concepts in the final design for Goobi, and I'm sure you all are aware that the demo version of Goobi was never meant to be final. And this concept that she made for me, I love a lot more. I think it's the best model out of the 3 that I've had. The reason why I'm making this change is because I saw some comments about people still liking the old small boxy design, but a lot of people, or the majority of people, like the new one. However, I think with this third final design, I feel like it fits both sides, where I keep the round body, but he has a monitor now as his head, which gives it that box look. I'm really excited to get this model rigged and animated in the upcoming devlogs. So again, don't get too attached to the demo version of Goobi because he's going to change to this version. Let me know what you guys think about this new design. I hope you all like this design because personally I'm in love with this new design and I think it's the best one so far. So what's planned for the future? What's gonna happen to the devlogs? Is Devlog 5 gonna take another 2 to 3 months like this one? No. I have a lot of stuff planned out for the rest of the summer and for the rest of the year. Again, I have to apologize for taking so long in this devlog because I just had some personal stuff I had to deal with. But on a good note, Devlog 5 will hopefully be out really soon. I already have plans for it, as well as Devlog 6. I'm really excited to continue this project and come up with more ideas. I also want to thank you guys so much for the support lately. It's been crazy how many people are interested in this project that I'm working on, and it means so much to me, so thank you. So before I end the devlog, I'm going to answer a couple questions that I keep seeing. How long will the game take to complete? Well, I've only been developing the game for about a few months, or since February of 2022, so if that means anything, then I guess a while, or until I feel it's ready to come out. How am I funding the game? Right now, I'm out of my own broke pocket. No, but seriously, I am funding the game out of my own pocket right now, which is definitely hard as a college student, but it's fine for now. When will the player controller be finished? It won't. Will you switch to Unreal Engine 5? No, and here's why. Unreal Engine 5 is a very powerful game engine. It's extremely impressive and has a ton of new features I would love to get my hands on. However, I still feel it's very early to make games on Unreal Engine 5 for me personally, and I also feel that the performance might take a hit for now, so right now I'm just going to stick with Unreal Engine 4, which is what I know. Is there going to be a story, and if so, do you have one written already? Yes, there actually will be a story. It's still in the early work, so nothing is really too interesting right now, but there is going to be a story. Those were just a few questions that I kept seeing, so I hope that all makes sense now. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this devlog. I put a lot of time into this one, and I hope it was worth the wait, because it was definitely the most effort I put into a devlog. Anyways, make sure to subscribe and join the Discord down below. Thanks again for watching, and stay safe.